Hello, my name is Danny Nolan and I'm the Director of Chassis Sim Technologies. Today I'd like to talk to you about the Chassis Sim version 3.20 release. Chassis Sim version 3.20 has been released and it's got some exciting new features that I'd like to tell you all about. First things first, the first major difference between version 3.20 and version 3.19 is that now we've incorporated something called a master circuit file. What's a master circuit file, you might ask? Well, let's give you an example. In the past, as we all know, to load a circuit in Chassis Sim consists of a number of components, as you can see in our circuit information dialog. It's the curvature file, the bump profile. If you're using a grip scale factor file, you import that. If you're using a bump scale factor file, you import that. And if you're using an altitude road camber file, you import that. So let's go through and go through and manually load a circuit. So what we'll do is here's an example of a circuit that I'll load up, and I'll just go to bump profile, and I'll go to my grip scale factor file, and I'll go to my altitude road camber file. And typically I'll set it up like this. I'll click on my altitude road camper. I'll click on OK and I'm good to go. Now, the thing about the master circuit file is it's basically one file where all of these components live. So to generate that, that's actually really simple. I just simply click on this tab called Generate Master Circuit File from my currently loaded files. I choose on a location that I'd like to put this in. I click on Open. And now I just basically fill in my particulars. So this will be Zandvoort. I choose my base altitude. Now, Zandvoort's at sea level, so I keep it at 0. And I'll just call this is my F3 example. And I click on OK. Guess what? She's all done. Now, just to let you know what that actually looks like, is if we go down to our master circuit file, it's simply a text tab delimited file that contains all the information of our curvature bump profile file, our grip factor file, and our altitude road camber file, all exported at 50 Hertz. If you're not using a bump profile, it'll be exported out at 10 Hertz. But you can see that we've basically got all our data, and you can edit this and you can edit this in Excel. You can edit it in any notepad. Now, to load that up, it's actually really, really simple. I simply click on Load Master Circuit File. I select my master circuit file, click on OK. Here we go. Here's our master circuit file. Now, one thing that I will say is that you still need to manually tick using the grip factors and using the altitude road camber files. However, the beauty about a master circuit file is that once you've gone through and you've evolved your curvature file, you've refined your bump profile, you've refined your grip scale factors, and you've edited your altitude road camber, it's a really useful tool to basically congregate all those circuit files in one particular in one convenient location in one file, so you've got everything to hand. And just to commit that, you click on OK, and you're done. Now, the next feature that I'd like to talk to you about is we've added some more suspension geometry types, and in particular, what we've added is we've refined more locations for the 458 rear end, but we've also added, for those of you running BMW GT3s, we've added a new BMW Z4 multi-link rear end that will take all of those characteristics into account. Now, the other big thing that we've added into Chassis Sim version 3.20 is that in the nonlinear motion ratios, you've now got the option of specifying nonlinear motion ratios as a function of damper length, as opposed to specifying it as everything based around the ground gap. Now, the reason we've added this is that some of the feedback from the chassis sim community has been, look, we like the nonlinear damping ratios, but I'll tell you what, we've got all this data that's spec'd as a wheel movement versus damper length. Well, there you go. So to implement this, you just simply click on Enable Nonlinear Motion Ratio, specify motion ratio as a function of damper length. You specify your damper length. You specify your damper length, and now here's the key: you put your wheel displacement as starting from 0 at full droop to whatever you were measuring your wheel displacement at full bump, and you specify your damper length, obviously starting from the fully extended damper length to what is now the minimum damper length at what it would be the full droop condition. So all you've got to do is basically put that in. Now, the key thing is you put the damper length at what the damper length would be at ride height, and Chassis Sim will take care of the rest. Now, one thing that I will that applies for both mainsprings and third springs. If you want to specify this feature using a roll bar, the key thing is what you've got to do is that this time around you specify wheel displacement at 0 at full droop and wheel displacement at full bump. But this time round, what you do is that you enter your bar displacement at 0 at full droop, and then all you're doing is measuring the bar displacement as you're compressing the damper. And now the key thing is that you specify the damper bar length, your bar length at what the bar length would be at ride height, and away you go. It's as simple as that. And our testing of this has actually proven to be a very, very useful tool. So this is something that I would definitely recommend to you. Also, too, there's been some there's also been some minor enhancements and bug fixes from version 3.19. I did hear feedback from some in the community that there was a minor pagination bug that's been sorted out. Also, too, there's been some very minor changes to the Shaker Rig toolbox, and in particular some enhancements with regards to dealing with inverters that we've tested out and we found to be a very, very good positive step. So, for those of you in the Chassis Sim community, you probably should have already have received the email with regards to the version 3.20 release. For those of you who aren't Chassis Sim users, I would strongly encourage you to contact us and sign up for a demo. Just a quick note for those of you who are professional online users, we're going to be releasing the version 3.20 incarnation of Professional Online after the cutoff dates for the Chassis Sim Professional Online competition. We've already had quite a few entries for that, and I just want to make sure that everyone's on the same level playing field. But for those of you using version 3.19 Professional Online, don't worry. There is version 3.19 Professional Online was almost a halfway house between version 3.19 and version 3.20 anyway. But look, for those of you who, I will sum up by saying, for those of you who are existing Chassis Sim users, by all means, start using version 3.20. But for those of you who aren't Chassis Sim users, sign up for a demo, get using Professional Online, and you can discover for yourself just what a powerful tool Chassis Sim version 3.20 can be.